The Forgotten Visitor. The spaceship shimmered as it descends through Earth's atmosphere, its metallic hull blending with the twilight sky. A crew of alien explorers scanned the terrain below for signs of intelligent life. They had traveled light years, curious about a planet rumored to harbor a rich diversity of organisms. The mission was simple: observe, document, and leave. No interference. As the ship landed silently in a dense forest, the leader, a tall being with translucent skin that shimmered like water under moonlight, addressed the crew. We will not linger. The atmosphere here is unstable. Gather data and return within 2 rotations. But among them was Silas, the youngest and most curious of the group. His large, luminous eyes scanned the vibrant world with awe. Everything fascinated him. The whisper of wind, the rustle of leaves, the cacophony of nocturnal creatures. Stay close, the leader warned, before the group dispersed to collect samples. The forest, vast and labyrinthine, seemed alive in its own way. Silas wandered farther than he should have, entranced by the glow of fireflies and the croak of frogs. He crouched by a stream, marveling at the way the water reflected the starlight, when a loud whoosh broke his reverie. He looked up, panic seizing him. The ship was ascending, its engines humming with an eerie resonance. He sprinted toward the clearing, his elongated limbs moving with desperation. "Wait," he cried in his native tongue, his voice a melodic hum. But the ship didn't hear him or didn't stop. It vanished into the stars. For hours, Silas sat by the empty clearing, his bioluminescent form glowing faintly in the dark. The forest grew colder, and strange sounds filled the night. He tried to call his crew using his communicator, but the signal was blocked by the planet's dense atmosphere. Eventually, he ventured out, driven by instinct and a glimmer of hope. Not far from the clearing, a young boy named Ethan was stargazing in his backyard. With a telescope set up on a rickety tripod, he had been scanning the sky for hours when a faint blue glow caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a firefly, but as it moved closer, his breath caught. The figure that emerged from the forest didn't look human. It was tall, its limbs too long and graceful, its eyes like glowing orbs of liquid light. Ethan froze, gripping his telescope. Silas, sensing no hostility, raised a hand in greeting, emitting a series of melodic chirps. Ethan's fear melted into wonder. He raised his hand back, mimicking the gesture. "You're not from here, are you?" Ethan whispered. Silas tilted his head, the sound of Ethan's voice unfamiliar yet fascinating. He mimicked the word, his tone melodic but recognizable. "Here." Over the next few days, Ethan and Silas communicated through gestures and sounds. Ethan brought fruit, crackers and water which Silas examined curiously before consuming. In return, Silas shared small wonders, a hovering orb he used for illumination, a fragment of his ship that projected holographic images of his home. Ethan taught Silas words, pointing at objects and naming them. Silas picked up the language quickly, his natural intellect and mimicry helping him bridge the gap. "Why did they leave you?" Ethan asked one night, sitting by a campfire they had built together. Silas gazed at the flames, his glowing eyes dimming slightly. "Mistake," he said slowly. "Return, uncertain," Ethan frowned. "We'll figure it out. I'll help you." One evening, as Ethan and Silas explored the woods, a helicopter roared overhead. Startled, Silas' glow intensified, illuminating the trees. Ethan grabbed his arm, urging him to hide, but it was too late. The helicopter circled back, and soon, black SUVs with flashing lights tore through the forest. Men in uniforms, armed and cautious, surrounded them. Ethan stood protectively in front of Silas, shouting, "Leave him alone. He's not dangerous." The soldiers hesitated. Silas raised his hands. A gesture he had learned meant peace. His bioluminescence pulsed rhythmically, calming the tension in the air. A scientist stepped forward, her face curious but kind. "We don't want to hurt you," she said softly. "We just want to understand." The next few days were a whirlwind. Silas was taken to a secure facility, where he was studied but not harmed. Ethan visited often, acting as his translator and advocate. News of the alien visitor spread, sparking global fascination and debate. Eventually, the unthinkable happened. Silas' crew returned, their ship appearing above the facility in a display of dazzling lights. They had realized their mistake and come back for him. As the ship descended, Silas turned to Ethan, his luminous eyes reflecting gratitude and sorrow. "Friend," he said, placing a long, slender hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Thank you." Ethan nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "Will you come back?" Silas didn't answer, but as the ship ascended and disappeared into the stars, Ethan noticed a faint blue glow left behind in the clearing, a small, hovering orb. A gift, a promise. And every night after, as Ethan gazed at the stars, he knew his friend was out there, looking back,